Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's meeting. Um,
Hello.
February 12th. February 12th, and February is Black Heritage Month. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. So my name is Catherine O'Hare Rogers, and I am the Compliance Officer and Vice President of MARR. MARR is, everyone knows who attended last month's meeting or they watched the video, which got to do one or the other. We've changed our name from Michigan Association of Recovery Residences to Michigan Association of Recovery Resources. So that encompasses more of what the state has asked us to do. They asked that we not only certify recovery residences throughout the state, but we also certify recovery community organizations, recovery community centers, the like. So we thought we would change our name, but it's still MAR. So we wanted to make sure we stuck with that. So if you haven't done so already, if you could please go to the chat and put in your name and the organization you're here for, so we can do roll call, that would be great. And if you're able to, please turn your cameras on so we can all see each other. I like to see everybody's faces. I hardly ever see anybody once a year. So that would be great. So Jeff Van Treese,
Yes, ma'am.
would you like to discuss today?
Um, I want to discuss one thing, which is you may have been aware that the federal government has issued an executive order saying that there are only two sexes, and that gender would not be a protected class under the federal Civil Rights Act as of last week. But in Michigan, there is the state of Michigan's own Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act, which does include gender as a protected class. And so, and I've reached out to the ACLU and to the state attorney general's office and have been advised that we should stay the course. So in the event that anybody has an issue with funding being threatened as a result of putting a trans person into a single sex housing situation, please let me know so that I can then notify the ACLU and the state attorney general's office of that. But at the present time, we're just going to stay the course. And so the guidance on LGBTQ plus that was finalized last year will remain in effect for the state of Michigan. So that is the news on that front. If anybody has any questions about that, raise your hand. If not, that's all from the top.
Do you have any questions for Jeff? Okay. Kelly Darren. What's going on with RecCap, Kelly?
So, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
You sound far away.
I don't know. I've been working with this all day. I've met a couple of folks. So I'm going to try to speak really loudly. Thankfully, there's nothing too huge going on. Not thankfully, but so essentially we're staying the course. As we've discussed in our prior meetings, we will be changing platforms to Behave Health. We are working on getting together with them probably sometime in April to meet with all of the operators, let them know what's going on, specifically what the platform looks like. Obviously, we also need to fine tune training for everyone, onboarding for everyone into the system. So at this time, we're just kind of staying status quo, making sure that we are maintaining everybody's evaluations, keeping the evaluations up to date. And then once we get our new system available and we're able to get into that, we'll kind of take off with some more of the individual planning, the goal planning, etc. So that's kind of it where we're at right now. We're just kind of staying the course. Just kind of remember too, because I've had a couple of folks ask regarding the community of practice. we're going to place that on hold just till we get some concrete information and make sure that we are giving everybody the same information in a timely manner. So look for those invitations when we're at the place that we're ready to pull everyone together with a plan and have our first step ready to go. Okay, so just kind of want to throw that out there. That's on hold until we get that information back. Other than that, everything's going fine. If anyone has any questions or concerns, I'm happy to help. Other than that, we're gonna stay the course for a couple months.
I've got something to add. Kelly, I spoke to Ben Weiss
Okay.
last evening, and Ben is the operator of Behave Health. So Ben has agreed to come on to our March meeting. So that'll be Wednesday, same time, March the 12th. And he's going to be able to explain, here's what Behave Health platform allows the operators to do. And in addition to RecCap, there are some other features that Behave Health has. So that'll be March 12th, Wednesday, 3 o'clock, and Ben Weiss will be talking for a bit there. So
Yeah.
Any questions for Kelly about RecCap? I have a question, Kelly. We're still doing the computer reimbursement, correct? So
Correct.
recovery, if you haven't taken advantage of this benefit, just want to remind you that if you're doing RecCap, if you have like 5 homes, for example, if you buy a laptop or a tablet for each location to help the individuals do RecCap, MARR will reimburse up to $300 per tablet or computer, for one for each address. So all you have to do is reach out to Kelly, and Kelly will send you the paperwork that you need to fill out. We need a copy of the receipts, and then we can reimburse you. So it's a nice benefit to have. Of course, you want to have something in place to make sure that you're monitoring those tablets and stuff so they don't walk out the door. So any questions about that? No?
I
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Hi, Catherine, and Kelly. Could you, so a tablet would be available for one of the homes that we have that doesn't currently have one? That's what you're saying?
Catholic
Correct.
Social Services did order some. So I would check in with Liz and
Yes.
see if they have one available for you, because I know that they
Well,
did purchase those. Or did you
Right.
open
I
a new
know that they
tab?
did purchase some too as well. I just know that we are one short because
Okay.
so
Okay. Yeah, I can
So-
send that out to you guys.
I would appreciate that a lot.
Of course.
Great.
Yeah, you can send that right to me if you'd like to.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
And several operators, have been able to find tablets for just under $300 too.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's very doable. It's nice to have that reimbursement. So, great. Kayla King, what do you have to share?
I don't personally have anything this month. The things that I like have on my mind are things like the conference and the meeting afterwards. So, and I know those things are going to be talked about. So I'll let you guys handle those 2 topics.
Yeah, Jeff, we'll talk about the conference this year, the National Alliance. It's going to be in Ohio, and it's going to be September.
Yep, Sandusky at a water park. Yay!
it's at the Kalahari Water Park, which is in Sandusky, Ohio, which is, I understand, like a 20-minute drive from Cleveland. And it's going to be September the 15th. They have the good news and the bad news. Good news is they have a water park. Bad news is that it's going to be in September. And so you will only be able to go on the inside portion of the water park. But we're looking forward to the NAR conference. We've grown from having it starting off with like 20 people 10 years ago to more than 500. we're also talking about the extension or increase of services that are going to be rendered by MARR and NAR. We've expanded to the certification and providing training for recovery community organizations or recovery community centers, in addition to recovery residences. And I would, if you have any questions about the NAR conference, go on naronline.org is the website. The hotel rooms are going to be relatively cheap. They're only $139 a night. So, and given the fact that it's in Cleveland, it's not that far from Michigan. So I'd encourage anybody that's got some time in mid-September, and it's probably going to cost you $1,000. But you're going to get a huge amount of information that's going to be available from the world's leading experts on the social model of recovery. It's worth every penny of it. Well, that's my report on the conference.
Put the NAR website in the chat along with the website for where the conference will be held. So
Good road trip. Good
Yep.
road trip for everybody.
apparently
right?
Cedar Point is relatively close, so I think some people that are going to the conference are planning on doing a day at Cedar Point.
Anyone have any questions about what we've talked about so far? Nothing? Well, today we're starting lessons learned. It's going to be a meeting right after this meeting. We're going to try that time for a couple months and see how that works. We figure as long as we got a lot of people on board, we'll just continue the meeting at 4 o'clock, just kind of gradually bring it into lessons learned. Glennis, myself, and Kayla.
Touch on the name change because no one knows yet. We're not calling it like the mentorship or the best practices anymore. We're referring it to lessons learned. And instead of doing 2 separate meetings, we're kind of making it just one meeting and calling it lessons learned. So every single month at 4 p.m. after this meeting, that's when lessons learned will begin.
Yep, it's perfect for new operators because we were going to do a separate one as a mentorship for individuals and new people coming on board. But we thought lessons learned, that's a great name. And it'd be beneficial for seasoned operators and new operators or pending individuals that are looking into recovery homes. So it's going to be a lot of helpful information. We encourage anyone who can stay after and participate. That's great. It's not mandatory, but it'd be nice to have everybody's input into that. So there's best practices. There's NAR's best practice, which is what the expectation is for the recovery housing. You know, that's what MARR recommend, or MARR represents the National Alliance. But there's also SAMHSA best practices as well. So we didn't want to call it best practices. So Glennis Anderson, she's on board. She had a great idea. Let's just kind of call it lessons learned, because as seasoned operators too, there's things you've learned over the years, and to help things for people that are coming on board might save you some money. Why go through the hassle of seeing how horrible mini blinds are and how often they got to be replaced? You know, right? You know, if you hear that from the beginning and say, oh, maybe there's a better option, helpful hints like that will, I think it'd be very beneficial for everybody. So we're going to do that 4. So anyone who's interested in participating, that'd be great. Just stay on the meeting. And Kayla's going to like cut and paste. And so once the meetings, usually this meeting is available later in the day to review on our YouTube. The same thing will be for the lessons learned. You'll be able to click on just that portion for people that aren't able to attend, but it'll just be another tool. Hopefully that'll be helpful. So, all right. So this meeting is for you guys. I did want to bring up, we have the operator of the month this month for March is Sobriety House. And unfortunately, I spoke with Dana. Dana Smith is the operator for that, and she has the flu. So she's not going to be on today to talk about it. But what stood out to me when I went to their home, it was the first time that I saw it. Um, the home was really beautiful. It was a big brick home in Detroit, Michigan. And there's some good areas, but there's a lot of boarded up homes and stuff. I just never saw a home like that in that area. And when I walked in, it's a duplex. It's a large brick home they have a bottom and they have the top level. And it reminded me of, I like to watch the home improvement shows, where they show what a home looks like. And then when you walk in, you see all this high end, stuff. It's like, wow, I've just never seen anything like that. It was just really beautiful, maintained very well. They deal directly. They have a treatment facility that is associated with their organization, and a lot of structure for the guys. It's a men's home, a lot of structure. And I was impressed. So I asked if she's feeling better. Next month, we'll have her talk a little bit about her program. I also wanted to bring up February is Black Heritage Month. So is there any operator doing anything in particular to recognize for the individuals that live in your home? Is there anything taking place you want to share?
Events that you know are happening this month.
Okay. All right. What do you guys
Just a
want to talk
reminder,
about? What's going on?
just a reminder, since I did say events, anytime that you guys see a recovery event, anything happening around the state of Michigan that you think would be a great thing for people to get involved in, definitely email me, post it on the Facebook page, or send it to either Jeff or Catherine. We love posting that stuff for you guys, putting it on our website, talking about it. I know the annual one that everybody like loves to go to is also coming up in Lansing here soon. But there's already every single month, it seems like there's so many. And I see on you guys' individual pages, sometimes you post about them, but we love hearing about them too. So definitely feel free to let us know about those.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm linked in on emails from different counties, and they'll share training opportunities. So I'll reach out to Kayla and I'll say, hey, send this to the operator. It's another training opportunity for you. So take advantage of those and when you can. So what else is going on? Who haven't I picked on in a while? No one's going to speak up. I'm going to call a name. Patricia. Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, I'll go first. No, I had this weird idea in my head that I could throw out and see if it means anything to anyone else. I can't remember which news channel it is. I'm in the Grand Rapids, Kent County area, but I noticed some of the news channels do different little community highlights of new businesses or nonprofits or entities that are doing community service type of things. And I always wondered, man, I wonder if they would ever do one of their 5-10 minute little interview specials with our industry. And I didn't know if is it just maybe just my area has this, or has anyone else ever seen news specials where they highlight one group per week?
I've seen something like that, Preston. I think they're called PSAs, public service announcements. And there was not a TV reporter, a newspaper reporter in the Lansing area that did some positive articles about recovery housing in Lansing, and that was 2-3 years ago. But yeah, if it were me, I might do one of two things. One would be you can generate your own news announcement, send it out to the newspapers and TV stations, and toot your own horn and see what, if any, feedback you get from them. Another way of trying to get your name out would be to essentially get free advertisement through the PSAs. So I know it's been done. I know it was done once in Lansing. There's no reason why you couldn't do it in Kent County or Grand Rapids, but you have to have the contact. You need to have a name of somebody that's either the TV person or the news person. So if you know anybody that's in there, it's like I know the cousin of one of the newspaper, or I'm sorry, the TV reporters. I would talk to them and see, well, okay, can I get 5 minutes of your time to try to talk about what recovery residences do here in the state? And you could show them the stuff about RecCap, and you can show them the stuff about here's the Fletcher Group's analysis of the return on investment. For every dollar invested in recovery support services, there's $74 return over a 20-year period. So those are the kind of things that you might be able to get some interest in.
Jeff, you sound like the perfect person to do that. Look at all that knowledge you have. All right. And it's not that way too. They're not going to want to, you don't want them to go to an individual house, right? You're protecting your homes. You don't want a bunch of people that are against that to show up and or have individuals that live in your home be seen, and they want to have that private that they're there. But I think that's a great idea, Preston. What do you think about that, Jeff?
Well, only because Preston suggested it. And thank you, Preston.
I remember, I can't remember when it was, but at one point, someone did do a cold call. I believe it was actually through an email to my organization. It was some kind of recovery month. I can't remember what month that is, but they were talking about.
September?
Was it September?
It could be. That's the recovery month.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was this past September. I had also had someone reach out to me about, it's recovery month. We're looking to do a special on all things related to recovery and substance use disorders, and nothing came of it. So, but between what I see on TV and that, and someone reaching out, it made my brain tingle a little bit. But yeah, maybe September. So yeah, maybe a month or two before that. If it was going to happen, that'd probably be the best window.
I'll do the following, Preston. This is only because you brought it up. I'm going to do a press release. I'll send it out to the news and print media places. I'm going to put your name in them. Seriously, no, as a contact person about, if you want to know anything about how well-run recovery residences operate in Grand Rapids, come talk to Preston. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and do that. Well, I'm not promising any results at all, but we'll give it a try.
No, that's fine, because all I'm going to do is delegate it to my marketing person. And she already said she doesn't mind putting her nails, her hair, and everything else on, or whatever ladies do to be beautiful. And she said, I don't mind a 5-minute interview. I can talk. I can look pretty. So I went, hey, go for it.
Yeah.
At the same time, bringing up the MARR website, and if you're looking for a residence, go to certified operators, and you'll see a whole list of operators throughout the state of Michigan in alphabetical order of county. Start there, and then here's one operator, certified operator that's located in Muskegon and Grand Rapids. But it'd be nice to give a shout out to where the site is. It's a lot of people don't know that we exist. A lot of people don't know until they get to treatment, and even once they're in treatment, that's not always shared with them. Maybe there's only 1 or 2 places that are referred or option for them. So that's a great idea. Give it a shout out for everybody. Yep. Anyone else have anything they want to share? Is that a great idea?
Well, my hand I raised. I don't know if we use that or not. But I was gonna say, Preston, something else is when you have events, put them on community calendars, because then like our sober comedy night that we started last year, like Fox Good Morning from GR had us on for a little stint. And then they've come to us with other things because they know we exist now.
Nice.
So once you get in, and also if you see anything in MLive where it's about recovery or look at who the author was, and usually you can just email them. And when I always hey, I love that article. If you're ever looking for anything in Muskegon, we would love to be of help because I check MLive every day for that kind of stuff or stuff on opioid funds because we're a recipient of some of those in Muskegon County. They'll do an article. I'll be like, hey, just so you know, here's how we're using our funds if you ever need that for a future endeavor. And if you get any grants, do a press release because sometimes they'll pick that up. Like it's really, there's, and Chat GPT is super helpful if you don't know how where to start.
Would you mind putting some of that information you just shared in the chat? That
Yeah.
was a lot of, and I'm so glad you joined this month, Candy. I wasn't
I
thinking you were
know
going
it's
to be
probably
on
my
it.
last month because Saul is
Yeah,
out
you
of the
said
building.
that last
It's
month too.
well, we are getting a ton of snow right now, and he went to pick up more salt. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking crazy outside already for sure.
same.
Yeah, different on this side of the state. I'm in Grand Rapids, and it's supposed to be 1 to 3 inches as of 12:15. That was going to start weather advisory, and then overnight could be 2 to 4 inches. So I don't know where you guys are all located, but please be careful. And that's something else to talk about too. When the weather's really bad, and or you got really freezing temperatures that we had a few weeks ago that it was like -0 or 8 degrees. Those are the times too you really want to think about the residents that you have in the home and what the expectations are. So when I ran homes years ago, one of the expectations are, you're up at 7, out the door no later than 8:30. They couldn't come back before 4, putting a full-time effort into finding a full-time job until they started the job. But when there was weather, like really dangerous weather, I'd be like, you know what? You guys don't have to go out today, just do something from home. Because I wasn't going to make them stand at the bus stop when, they're going to maybe get frostbite or, there's a tornado warning or something. So stuff you need to think about with your residents, make sure that they know, the weather's not okay, that it's okay that they don't go out on their job search that day. You want to keep them safe. Another thing is hats and gloves. A lot of your people come with like the shirt on their back, or they might have a coat, but do they have hats? Do they have gloves? I mean, these are little things. You can pick it up at the Dollar Tree. Make sure everybody has something to keep themselves warm. So just keep that in mind, please, especially this time of year. So what else is going on? Come on. Ashley's iPad. I see Ashley's iPad. I don't know where you're from. I just says Ashley's iPad. What's going on? What home are you representing, Ashley?
I'm with KBIC SAP, Ashley Maji.
I want to say that again really slow. Sorry.
KBIC SAP, Ashley Maji in Berga,
Okay.
Vermont.
Oh yeah,
Ashley.
yeah. Awesome. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
So what's new there?
Not much right now. Just
One of our
pushing
newest
forward.
certified operators.
Yeah. Very excited to get that. Yes. We worked really hard on that. Thank you. Yeah, not much right now. We're pushing forward. I just hired a new unit manager. She's here with me now. This is Amanda.
Hello. Hi, Amanda. Welcome.
Thank you. She's here to help us here.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You're the tribal community, correct?
Yeah, tribal community, yes.
Great.
What are some things, if any, that you guys do that would you say if you do differently than like a typical recovery home?
We do a lot of traditional ceremonies within our home, within our we're a men's facility. So we do a lot of traditional ceremonies here, a lot of traditional prayer, drumming, feasting. Yeah, drumming and feasting, and we get out there and cook with them and we're out there with them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
large
like
is your
contact-
home?
We can hold 12.
You have any contact with White Bison at all?
We do. That is one of our main curriculum is the White Bison Red Road to Recovery.
Okay. If you know, is Mr. Kateri going to be up in the UP this year?
I do not know that.
Okay. You talk about bad weather. He was in Sault Ste. Marie with his the was some type of circular thing of eagle feathers, I think he had.
Yeah. I do have a training coming up once a month with White Bison here within KBIC SAP. So KBIC SAP is the umbrella that Ashkenazi is underneath. So it's the substance abuse programs throughout the tribe. And we are actually running a White Bison training within our facility for the next, I think it's 5 months. They'll be here once a month.
And you're in the UP?
Yeah, we are in the UP.
And does the UP tribal people talk to the Saginaw tribal people?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We talk to all of them.
So you're all tuned in to the White Bison?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
We've had so
That
many
was gonna be my
apply.
question. That was gonna be my question. I wanted to see if all the tribal communities throughout the state are made aware of that so they can attend as well, or I didn't know if it was just for a specific area.
My thought, Ashley, is that wouldn't it be great if we could have something on the MARR website that says if you're a tribal person in the state of Michigan, here's who you reach out to for support services.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Sure. I can get it with Kayla.
If
That'd be great.
that's perfect. I don't need to do anything. You talk to Kayla. No, seriously, because I've asked that question before at the state level with some of the tribal representatives, and I've gotten nowhere. And then I went to the Kateri Koyas and her father at White Bison. I still don't get anything, and so it's like I just needed to talk to Ashley.
Yeah.
Actually needed to do it, right?
Yeah, I can even give her my because our inpatient treatment center is across the street from us.
Okay.
And so I can give her my intake workers contact information if they want to go into inpatient treatment and then come here. That's all available.
Yeah. Well, I know that because that's an issue. I'm a lawyer, and I had a client like 6-7 years ago that came into my office saying that he thought that he qualified as a tribal member, but because of some adoption, it was difficult for him to determine, get some type of final order, I guess, from the tribe.
Well, I want to say that we don't just take tribal members; we take non-tribal as well.
Okay, well and I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
But trying to find a resource that dealt with the tribal services for people with SUD in Michigan, I couldn't find it. And so my thought was, why don't we just add that to the MARR website? And thank
KBIC.
Yeah, any information on White Bison as well. Thank you, Brenda, for commenting in the chat. She said
Yeah.
that she has somebody that's going to be discharged soon that is Native American, and is a tribal member. So definitely would like somewhere to refer people.
Perfect.
Great. I'd like to officially introduce Glennis Anderson. Glennis is our new employee with MARR. We're happy to have her on board. Glennis is recovery resource consultant for the state of Michigan with MARR. And Glennis, do you have anything you'd like to share? You're muted. Part of the training with MARR, we have to show the new people how to unmute themselves.
Hello, everybody. No, I'm just taking this all in. This is great. I'm loving. I just thought I want to do that site visit at the tribal area up there because I'm very interested in that as well. So that's I'm wondering about if they use tribal medicine there as well for some of the residents. Can you speak to that, Ashley?
What was that? I was answering on the chat. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I'm interested in, I'd really like to do a site visit up there with you guys. I'm wondering about tribal medicine as well. Do we use a lot of that in your
Yes, I have them all available here. I have all the four medicines here. They also have the availability to see a traditional medicine man.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's
So
very
cool.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where are you located?
I'm located on the Lawrence Indian Reservation, in the Upper Peninsula.
Okay. Very interesting. No, this is really good. It's nice to meet everybody, and I'm looking forward to working with MARR, and I love what we do. And I love what you all do. I'm a 30-year provider of recovery housing and treatment, so
Mhm.
pretty well versed in the topics and of RCOs and engagement centers and recovery housing. So and practice issues with women. So I'm excited to learn all about you guys and what you do, and I'm open to all the learning I can get. So and pass on our
Yeah,
learning.
we offer inpatient residential treatment, outpatient, and now Ashkimaji, which is our halfway house.
Very good. Nice. Now, thank you for the introduction, Catherine, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, both Catherine and Glynis will be hosting our second meeting. That's every month, right? Glynis, you're going to be on the 4 p.m.
And I think every month we might have a different topic, which you guys will
Yeah.
help decide
Yep.
what those topics are, because it's for all of us. Yeah, because when we do recovery housing, I'm sure a lot of you guys on here know lessons learned that you could pass on to us, so it's a little easier for us because we don't have to repeat or make mistakes that other people have made and have learned from them. So I'm excited about that part of it. And the reduction of headaches that we have just by our expectations of people in recovery, because many of us running recovery housing know our pathway, and it's nice to be able to share other pathways of recovery as well. So excited about that. Yeah.
Yep. So Glynis Anderson and myself, and we have 2 contractors, Desiree and Michael Puckett, are the ones that are going to be going around doing site reviews. So a lot of times you'll see Glynis and I together on site reviews, and yeah, so it's been fun. It's been really interesting going to different locations, huh, Glynis, and seeing how different each organization is, and everybody has their own thing that they're offering, and that's one unique gift that I think that I've been able to have is being a previous operator and being one of the only individuals that have gone all over the state talking to all the certified operators, and I get to pick your ears and your minds and to see what's going on in your home, what do you do, and so through all that I've been able to see different things like, wow, that's really helpful, and so I share these ideas with operators when I come to your homes. So if I see what you're doing, and if I think of a way that another operator maybe is doing it that could be helpful, I always try to share that information. So again, the 4 o'clock meeting is really going to be fun and engaging. I'm looking
I think it's important to know too that, so I mentioned I've been doing this for 30 years. I opened up a nonprofit in 1996 with recovery housing, and now it's a $5 million agency, and I'm retired from there. But I started doing site reviews with MARR, about a year ago, Catherine, or something. And I learned so much after doing it for 30 years and having running these operations for that long. You pretty much think you've run into everything you're going to run into, and it's just not true. And I've learned so much in this last year. I'm like, it's so interesting to me. Some of the things I'm like, God, that was a no-brainer. Why didn't I think of that? Like, it's so, we're always able to learn new things, no matter how long we've been doing it. So I'm excited to learn more from you guys and give you what we got, and what we can provide to people with these recovery housing and with the knowledge and wisdom and lessons learned. It goes beyond what any normal human being could really learn. And those of you in recovery know, like myself, that we are very wise for our years and we've learned a lot, but there's just so much more we can pass on that we learned. So I'm really excited about being here with you guys, and lessons learned are always a wonderful way to pick up new things and even increase your dollars sometimes. So can't beat that, right?
we've all
for a way
earned
to
our
do
gray
that.
hairs running recovery residencies,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy, not an easy journey, but a very honorable one. What better job could you have? You know, you're changing lives. You have an opportunity to change lives and make a difference in the world. So, a crazy world. So,
For those of us on the phone call that didn't listen to me last month introduce Glennis, uh, I am so happy that Glennis is retiring and is coming to work with MARR. She is taught, I think, a professor at Eastern Michigan and some other college. Started Home and New Vision in Ann Arbor, and is a fantastic asset. Fell right into our laps. We had nothing to do with it, but literally.
It really did. It really did happen that way.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, that's something about God's got plans. So anyway,
Mhm.
the they're I believe Glennis is going to bring a degree of professionalism to MARR, and look forward to working with her. And if anybody has a question about how you run things, talk to Glennis about it. She's run a large operation in Ann Arbor for quite some time. So
Thank you.
anyway, thank you, Glennis.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, Catherine, and the new team, my new team.
The dream team.
I got a random thing I can put out there if we're done talking about Glennis.
Please do.
So somebody on the opioid task force asked me whether there was any permanent recovery housing. And I thought, well, I'm a real estate lawyer, so I know what a permanent housing looks like. But I was told yesterday that when they said permanent housing, they don't mean permanent housing at all. What they mean is a leased property where the expectation is for those, let's say you got 100 people walking through your doors in a recovery residence, there's probably going to be some number, maybe 3, 4, 5 people that will need support really for the rest of their lives, or could benefit from some type of support the rest of their lives. I know, for instance, in Building Men for Life, we got about 100 beds, and there's always 3, 4, or 5 guys that really, once they get through the initial program, they really need some additional support. And so that's been explained to me as a leasehold interest. So you've got a month-to-month lease or an annual lease be set up by a nonprofit, and it would be for those people that have graduated from the recovery residence program but still need some help and support to get through life. So I'm wondering, I know there's one place in Detroit that they're talking about doing that in terms of some type of
Mariners Inn. Mariners Inn is doing that.
Shalonda, I owe her a cheese sandwich or something.
Yes. I think it was a steak.
A cheese sandwich.
I'm pretty sure it was a cheese sandwich. Anyway, I was interested. Is anybody on this phone call are aware of anything like that exists in Michigan, or if you had any plans on doing that, let me know about it, because there's a potential for funding for that, right? The opioid task force, if they take within their purview of this is what they want to address, and there's at least one person who's the chair of the task force that wants to see that happen, there may be some funding out of the opioid litigation settlement funding to start a permanent recovery housing supplement to your existing recovery housing.
Can you explain what that means? I mean, so it's permanent recovery housing?
That's what it is. And it's permanent in the sense of, as long as they pay their rent and they don't return to use, that they're expected that they can stay there the rest of their life.
I think a lot of people that fall into that category that need that extra support too, they have a dual diagnosis. So maybe they have a mental health issue as well as a history of substance use. And a lot of times those individuals need a little bit more help,
That's,
a little bit more care. So it's
that's
nice to have
exactly
something like
right.
that.
That's exactly right, Catherine. Yeah.
Jeff, that was something that caught my ear yesterday at the meeting as well, and is something that I don't know, I would be interested in learning more about. Definitely. I think I think it's a great opportunity. So just always good to have options and possible other resources to help people in the community where, you know, housing issues might be a problem, but they're doing really good in their recovery, you know, and there's other things going on, other barriers. So yeah, that's something definitely would like to learn more about.
Yeah, I would like to learn more about that too, because I have some reservation thoughts on that, because of the lack of funding they give recovery housing. So why, if you're working with somebody in recovery, why don't they give us the dollars? Because we have mental health and consumers and that are dual diagnosis, and you know, I just don't understand. I'd like to know more about it. And if it's part of the housing first model, then you have other issues that, and then you're entering in the homeless realm. I mean, it's a slippery slope. So I'm just wondering more about that myself.
Could
Yeah,
you
well,
explain briefly on housing first what you mean by that, Glennis? Because I've heard that as well, and just in a couple minutes, educate people on what housing first is.
Well, the housing first model was created many years ago based on the persistently mentally ill. That's what the model was actually created for. And over the years, because of affordable housing, they call it, which we all know what that is because a lot of us don't have it, and it takes us a long time to get it. They will take people, and same person I would take, or same person other people in recovery housing would take, all of these providers on here right now, you would take a person, you would work with them, they get employment, they'd be doing groups, they'd do therapy, they'd learn how to live, they'd get a peer recovery coach, you'd do different meetings, different kind of self-help groups, and they would find a job, and when they were ready, they would move on, get an apartment or room with somebody else in recovery and move forward in their life. Housing first models take that same person you and I would take and take them in and get them housing where they're not allowed to go into their apartment because of the housing first model. You can't go in, so they can be using in there, they can be selling drugs out of there, they can be doing, and you can't go in because of the laws and the rules in the housing first model, because they've stretched it out to people in recovery as well, or people with a substance use problem. So it's no longer mental health. So that's my concern. I don't want to be having somebody in a house that I'm running and have them using and me not be able to discharge them for any reason because I can't go into their room to see what they're doing in there. So it's a really complicated, and that's just a real small little piece of it, but it really addresses the homelessness in most of our counties, and Washington County has a huge homeless population. So I know probably a little more about it if you guys don't have huge homeless populations in your communities, which many of you do. And you probably know just what I know. But it's a slippery slope about letting people move in and allowing them to do just what it is they want to do in their own homes, in their own rooms, without having any kind of way to know that you have a safe place for all these people in your recovery homes. So I just would like to learn more about it. If we could get somebody to come on here and talk to all of us about it, that would be great.
That
Yes.
isn't something that NAR would support because they can't use for recovery residences, certified recovery residences. So it's a different model, but it's not a model that could be certified by MARR.
Well, that's
Want to add on that, Jeff?
I think that's if it's housing first model, but if it's not a housing first model, they might support it.
Not if they're using.
Well, that's what I mean. That's only the housing first model that you can use. I don't know if
Right.
should have had you on the conversation yesterday, Glennis. Rachel Post, who's out of C4. They're out of, well, she's physically in Wisconsin, but she ran the Portland, Oregon housing thing. And I've had this discussion with her. So yesterday, and it was like, okay, well, when you talk about permanent recovery housing, you don't really mean that at all.
Right.
Month to month thing. When you say recovery housing, you don't really mean that either, because you're letting people use in the recovery housing. She said, yes. So, you know, what I don't know, that'll stay in Oregon. In Michigan,
Right.
what we're going to try to have is, here's something that is recovery based, and that the rules are going to require them to not return to use and continue on with their recovery, or they get exited from the housing.
Well, you know, the other question I have of that is, aren't we holding them back when we do that? I feel like we're holding people back. I mean, anybody that walks into the recovery house that I run, they can go out and do anything in the world they want to. And they're going to, and they're going to exceed, and they're going to move beyond, and that's my hope and dream. But if I keep them in the same house for the rest of life with 5 other people, what's the chance of them? I don't know. There's a part of me. That's what I mean. I'd like to know more about it. And I think that would be a great discussion for this group of people to have.
Yeah. Well, out of every 100 people, and I'll just say this is all related to Building Men for Life, which runs about 100-bed units here in Holland, Michigan. Out of the 100 guys that go through the program in the course of the year, there's probably only 2 or 3 that will need help really for the rest of their life.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and that's everybody that I know that's in that category is not just SUD, but has a co-occurring mental condition as well. And so the thought is, particularly in the Detroit area, the need is apparently there more so than in other parts of the state, for some type of option for that relatively small group of people that don't have the ability to go out on their own and will need some help really for the rest of their life. So it's a form of recovery housing. It's more like an AFC / recovery housing portion.
But then that's an AFC, and there's money for AFC too, that doesn't get into recovery housing dollars, right? I mean, yeah.
And the reason for me to bring up the issue is relating to the guy who's got the money. He said he was interested, and that's why I'm suddenly interested in him.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, and in the protection, I'm always protective of recovery housing providers. I'm always protective of that sector of the world, because I mean, it's like the 2 men you're talking about that they won't be able to live on their own. That's 2 beds that people in recovery could have. And are those 2 people you're talking about in the right place to actually move them forward more and open the beds for the people in recovery? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that's a question, and I'm always out for the provider, having been a provider for 30 years. I mean, it's, those are dollars that could come to recovery housing instead of permanent affordable housing that the homeless population and the homeless advocates find for people. And they're different from them. So we need to have somebody come on and talk to us about it so we can have an educated, intellectual conversation about it. And I don't know enough about this particular model that you're talking about, but it does bring in some concerns for what I think all providers should be thoughtful of. We always, and then when we hear money, we want to get the money because we know we need it, but we want to get the money doing the things that we do. We don't want to step out of our mission. So there's always that issue.
Yeah, there's some operators that have, they limit how long somebody can stay there. They're only funded for 3 months. So after 3 months, they want to move them on.
Yeah,
and
that doesn't work
which
either.
I don't agree with that, at all, unless there's this gentle handoff. And because, there's studies that show that recovery residences are needed. 6 months to 2 years is ideally, they need that extra support. And there's some locations that allow people to stay as long as they want, 4, 5, 6 years. So that's something you got to look at too. There's some people that need it. There's this fine line between helping and enabling. So you don't want to enable a person that's perfectly capable of moving out and being independent because he doesn't have to pay as much program fees, if he wouldn't have his own apartment. So you got to be mindful of that kind of stuff.
Kelly, did you have something to add to this conversation?
Hello, hi. I just
Oh,
wanted to basically introduce myself. I'm Shelley from Moongate Sober Living in Pontiac. Right now, we're currently just a level 1, and my partner just finished all of his courses, and we're filling out the papers for a level 2. So, and when I heard you guys talking about this instance where maybe some people need longer term care. So in my experience so far, I'm new to this, so I'm enjoying all the wisdom from you guys. Is that of course these guys are, some are goal oriented and then the others are not. They're just with the housing crisis and then also the cost of rent, they're happy staying where they're at. I see that they're not putting a much effort into improving their life. They're stuck on just either recovery, which is the most important because they're not going to go anywhere without that. Um, it's just, I would like to implement something, as far as helping them be more goal oriented and seeking and talking about their long term, what's going to happen after they leave here at Sober House. So I just, like I said, I wanted to reach out or just speak up and introduce myself and let you know I'm appreciating all the wisdom here.
Looking forward to seeing your home.
Thank you, Catherine.
That's another question, Diff, and I don't know if we know, like the housing that we had phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and in each phase you moved further in your recovery and the expectations got a little more so that you're kind of moving them all along and they're helping you do that. But how many people do that in the recovery housing, in recovery housing you run? How many have phases or goals or something to make sure that they're meeting those? Because you could have somebody, I mean, again, I've done it for 30 years, so it's kind of easier for me to say this because a lot of you probably don't feel this way, but I'm not going to have somebody in my program spinning their wheels for, 6 months to a year and other people seeing this person, just keep doing the same old thing. Because then they're like, why do I have to do that? So I want to move people. I want to help move people through the readiness for change. So I wonder how many providers do that. That's a good question, I think, that all of us could really use the answer to, it helps guide us. So maybe we need to do some kind of survey with that too. I think that would be really interesting for me. And that would help all of us, I think, to learn how we could run our programs better too.
And there's not just one path for that. We've got a
Yeah.
lot of individuals that write, we do, but it depends on what community you're in.
Yeah.
Are you in the boonies where, the closest town is 7 miles away? Or are you smack dab in the middle of Detroit or Flint or in Ann Arbor? So it all depends on where they're located, what opportunities are there. There's barriers depending on where you're at more than others. So.
Accepting the documentation from people, I usually see a lot of like basically their whole layout of how they run their homes. And I feel like at least half, maybe more, do go through like a phases system. And a lot of people in the comments have attested to that as well, too. So I think that's a great way to go about it. Most beneficial for the resident as well.
Great discussion. Anybody else have any questions? We're going to switch over to lessons learned. You're welcome to stay on, and you don't have to log off or anything. I'm going to start with that here in a couple minutes. Is there any other questions for what we brought up so far at the operator meeting?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I have another question. So since we're on the meeting, I wanted to discuss like eviction and, establishing residency, but I could save it for the next meeting in lessons learned.
Yeah, that's a whole nother hour.
That's a good one,
I
right?
know.
That's a good one. That's a good one right there. Like, we don't call it eviction because then you're a landlord.
Yeah, I know. So,
Yeah.
and Catherine did tell me that in phone
Yeah.
calls that we've had, but
Uh-huh.
I just need a little more guidance there. So
Okay.
at some point,
Yeah, good.
thank you.